Oh, man, it is not. It's not even funny how much stuff just does not improve, like, at all. Or even sometimes when it appears that things are getting better, it's like a stopgap for something worse to pop off or appear. Like you'll think, oh man, things are not as bad as they were, last year, a week ago, a few weeks ago, a month ago, and then something will just pop up seemingly out of nowhere and really serve to kind of remind you, hey, thought things were going to improve. Mm-mm. I always like to harken back to how there's a lot of these, I guess you call them computer analysts, where they're like, oh, if you had just gone uh, to college, things would have been so much easier. And I said, listen, you're talking to someone who got into a university and then couldn't go because the people that told them and hyped up going to college decided it cost too much, when they literally could have split it to be a few thousands of dollars, which is roughly the price of a school in my state as well. So basically, they tried to use the fact that it was slightly higher than what you would get out in out here as a in-state student, to push away from paying for it. And it was one of those things that just kind of made me realize how hopeless they were as a group, because again, if they actually split it, it would be roughly the same price or even actually slightly lower than what you could get out here. I'm still laughing at the one relative that was talking about, oh, I work at this school and you can get it if you go there, you can get a discount. It's like, it doesn't matter if the discount was $1,000 off, $2,000 off. You're still not going to pay for anything, and we know that because that same person, when given the opportunity to pay for it, with a lot of these schools, when you apply for them, they have these retainer fees when you for your application. So, for example, that the one I eventually ended up getting into was like $500 to apply, and that person refused to pay it. So if they couldn't pay $500 for a retainer fee to even apply to the school in the first place, why would I believe that they would then spend thousands supposedly to help me going through the school? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Why, if they're willing to pay thousands, why wouldn't they have paid hundreds for the application process? That's why I said they're full of crap. And you don't even, and I always say, like, you don't even have to be a genius to just look at this stuff and see how rigged it is, and how everyone that tells you they're so concerned and, oh, it's all a lie. But no, I really thought last week and the week before that and the week before that, that well, I guess rather these last 2 weeks, I should say, that things were starting to not necessarily improve, because I've already explained before, jobs will get rid of you after you're employed with them for sometimes a few weeks, sometimes a few days. So I wasn't holding any hope for that, but I was just thinking about how crazy it is that you know for a brief moment things started to kind of look up, and then all of a sudden something just gets dropped off in your waist, and it seems insurmountable, and the only way to get around it is to do things that make you uncomfortable, like just what's a way of explaining it? Like, if you need a service done, but you can't afford the price of it, be so, okay, I'll do it myself. Oh, and then you have someone else who goes, oh no, you don't have the skills to do this. You can't. It's like, well, hell, you either pay this ridiculous sum of money for one of these people to do it, something that you can't afford, or you do these, like, it's just it's all bad. It's all bad at every turn, man. I tell you. I don't know what the deal with these people are. I really don't. I can tell you the worst part of needing a service done on something is if something bad happens. Like, let's say whatever you have breaks down or starts acting up the day before a holiday, because a lot of the places that have people who could fix it are just off. Um, and it's really frustrating because if I had been able to go to the place on Thursday instead of having to wait until Friday, a lot of the stuff I ordered online to come and like fix the stuff could have arrived, uh, before I have to attempt to go to one of these jobs on Monday. So you see how one problem creates another. And then you have this guy. Sometimes when I speak, I feel like I'm just talking into a void. Not even like I'm not even talking about like lack of viewers, people don't watch, whatever. That's part of the territory. But it's like you'll sit here and you'll explain, this is why I believe. Excuse me. This is why I believe this. This is why I don't support this, etc., etc. And then you'll make it very clear. Hey, this happened, that happened, I did this, they did this. But even when you do that, you still have these weird people. And it's not even like, oh, they're weird because it's a disagreement. They're weird because you'll say something in plain unmitigated English, and it's like they're hearing something else. It's crazy. Um, like we do this video and we're talking about we make it's very clear what the subject matter is, right? You have a person who said that you were their friend, and then they all of a sudden started to ignore you, after they first out just out of nowhere. Then after they said they wouldn't, and you were upset by this, but you left this person alone. You weren't bothering them for the months of August, September, and then most of October. Then all of a sudden they resurface and they make it sound like whatever happened before is done, and you and them can finally speak to each other after such a long period of estrangement. And then they stand you up again, right? They say, hey, we're gonna have a call, uh, day after day after today, and you wait there for them. They're not around, and so a whole week goes by, and they say nothing to you. They just vanish. But they're online because you see them on Piscord online. You send messages. You go, hey, what happened? What are you doing? So then instead of just addressing you like a human being, they unfriend you. And then you make a video about it where you talk about how screwed up, like they just wasted your time. What is the point of investing so much energy, and time into being, you know, friends with someone if they can just throw you away like that? And this causes them and their little band of miscreants to respond to you, and for that person to come up with a rationale for why they did this. Uh, and then later on, within a few days, they send you a friend request on the same site they unfriended you from, and finally revealed the true reason was that their partner thinks anyone they talk to that's of the same gender as himself is trying to get with her, even though you've never done anything to suggest this. And she makes it sound like, hey, she's going to stand up to him, she's going to tell him what, this is dumb, etc. But she doesn't do that. She leaves the call with you to supposedly quell his concerns, and gets talked into basically doing the same exact thing again, despite how self-aware she is that it's stupid. But when I put up this video, I explain this piece by piece, and yet I still end up with someone writing a comment that doesn't make any sense, that misinterprets everything, that try. It's weirdly. It's so strange to see people be sympathetic towards women, but then also at the same time not necessarily. I mean, you got this guy talking about. She has tried to gently tell you from the begging that she wasn't interested. No, she didn't. If she wasn't interested, she wouldn't have come back 3 months later attempting to speak to me again. I mean, I swear it's like when you talk, there's just this filter that runs over your language to where you might as well not even speak, or speak in some alternate, in Spanish or Japanese or something. This is nuts. and talk about then she tells you her boyfriend doesn't want her talking to you. Do you see a pattern here? Uh, and what her boyfriend is doing, bro, all that is none of your concern. It's probably not even true. It's like, it actually is my concern if you cite him, or rather, cite that as the reason that you're not speaking to me. That'd be like if I go to a restaurant and they tell me, "Hey, we can't serve you any fries anymore." They're like, why? Oh, the manager doesn't want us to serve it anymore. He's mad. Like, okay, what does that have to do with me? And then you complain about it, and somebody's like, they told you their manager is the reason they're not serving fries, bro. That is none of your concern, and it's probably not even true. Like, if it wasn't my concern, why would they mention it in something having to do with me? Me wanting to get fries is my concern. Me wanting to talk to this person is my concern. Like, I just think it's funny the how in one part of this paragraph of crap, he says, uh, she gently has tried to tell you that she's not interested, but then like making it sound like, oh, sympathetic toward the woman, right? But then the other part of it is, it's probably not even true. God, where did they come from, man? Every time it's always some weird random person you've never seen before that just pops up with this nonsense, man. It's probably not even true. Well, tell us what is true then. I'm really tired of all the fan fiction. Like, it's one thing to say that you believe somebody could have, I don't know, acted better, done this, or instead of doing that, based off what they told you. But it's another to where you have to have this weird, and this has been like a through line of these different guys that show up and write this stuff. It's like they have this strange refusal to give either another man or whoever the other parties involved are that they haven't met the benefit of the doubt when they recount something. So they have to say, oh, this person probably isn't telling the truth, or oh, this probably isn't the way that you described it. Like we saw the same thing with Jove back in July, or rather back in May, talking about, uh, you seem like a genuine dude, but there's always something, It's like, what is the need for that? Why is there this weird antagonism over stuff that has nothing to do with you? Like, just strange, man. Like, I used to always wonder, why do those big channels, they never respond to people that come in their comment section? Like, you can write the nicest comments about them and they will just completely ignore it. I see why they do that. When people write stuff like that, what good is there to engaging with it? Like, at most, I could screenshot it and put it in the romance fan fiction video, but I don't know. Maybe I'll do that. It's just so crazy to me. Like, they never, they like, every time they type this stuff, they're literally typing the same thing we've seen 1,000 times over, um, with the perception that they're writing something that is needed or is of some unique perspective. It's like, no, we've seen people before say, "Oh, this probably wasn't true," or they make up their own version of what happened. Like, he says, she friend zoned you. He's like, no, she didn't friend zone me. I wasn't interested in dating her. Like, this is literally someone I was just friends with, and because they have this extremely paranoid, cartoonish boyfriend, they decide to destroy it for the sake of keeping him. After he gives them the ultimatum of, you either can be friends with this person or date me, one or the other. Um, So when he says she friend zoned you, he's trying to imply that there was some kind of romantic intent on my part, which was not true at all. I mean, I never even saw what this woman looked like. For Christ's sake, like, just really stupid stuff. It's like, I don't, before, I guess, last year and um, year before that, it was okay to kind of sit here and argue with these people, but I don't know. I feel like a certain melancholy about it because it's like this year has been so bad, and you can have awful things happen to you in real life that have like nothing to do with a woman at all, right? And these people just will never express any type of humanity toward you. And if they do, it's usually accompanied by some comment or statement that is attempting to like. I mean, I don't know. I think if I went to somebody's stream and they're talking about being without a place to live, right? I'm not going to say the circumstances that caused that to happen are messed up, but it's just you don't need that. How does reading that benefit that person at all? That's why I said when God, nobody cares about men, and they prove it every day. And that's why I said all that little unsolicited advice was always designed to make someone feel bad. It's not about improving somebody's life or saying something because you want to see the person succeed. I said before, like 99% of people online, including the ones that watch this very channel, don't give a damn about anyone on here at all. Their only concern is entertainment, and that's fine. But it's like don't come here and start talking about I'm concerned about you and I want to make sure you're all right. No, you're not. First of all, most of the ones that write that stuff, you could have a consistent upload schedule throughout the whole year, and you will not see these people pop up more than maybe twice a year, if not even lesser times than that. Like we had this pinhead come on. I can't remember the guy's name. That's how minor of a character he is. But he came on one of my streams a few weeks back, and it's like you hear that someone is having trouble looking for a job, that they're all this different stuff is piling on them, right? And you come here to ask this person about why they have things on their hands, and you know because of apparently the state they're in is somewhere that you're not allowed to be cold ever. And then after your comments are written off as being very weird out of nowhere, having nothing to do with being talked about. Oh, did you get a job? It's like, yeah, just stupid. God, people online spend so much time with these facades that you almost would think they don't even know what the real world is anymore. I'm so concerned about you, person I only watch once a year. I never forget the stream where the guy came on there talking about, and it's a guy he was I didn't know this before I looked at my email. He had been subbed to me for 2 years, and I go and I'm looking during the stream. He's over here giving all this unsolicited advice about going to the gym, and it's like it's even worse because this is one of those guys that hides their face, so it's even more like, well, if you're such an amazing, bodybuilder athlete, let's actually see your supposed physique, right? But he doesn't have one. That's why he hides his face. And I'm not even kidding. Toward the end of it, when he said, because I was like, why does my romantic life matter so much to you? You've never met me. It's weird, right? I'm invested in your growth. When I read that comment, I just couldn't take it anymore. I said, I can't participate in this, in the lies, like just the complete blatant um just incorrect comments. I mean, how are you invested in someone's growth, but then you never watch them? You've only shown up on one of their streams in the last 2 years, like, or in a video, I should say, as well. I mean, like, what a joke. That's why I said these people they don't even feel like people to me anymore. Like sometimes I really think these are just a bunch of AIs that pop up to write comments that are computer generated. because it's like it's usually someone you've never seen before, right? So it's something that like a person made somewhere, uh, and then the stuff they're writing oftentimes leaves out or misinterprets parts of what you're saying when it responds to you. So I that's why I said it doesn't, they don't even feel like human beings at this point. It is really funny to think that all those guys that talked about how easy it was to get with a woman and how, they're all just drowning in triangle. Not a single one of them ever showed they were with a woman ever. Oh, all right, hold on a second. I gotta mute this. Oh man, it's one of those very rare, actually important phone calls. So keep that in mind. Normally, I wouldn't even like go to the trouble of trying to call back someone like that, but that actually was a pretty significant update. It's so funny how over the last I'd say 3 years, I had this one thing I would do, which is watch a lot of newer. When I say newer, I'm talking about films I'd never seen before. Like go out of my way to see things I hadn't seen in the past. Um, you know, either because people kept praising it or they said, "Oh my god, it's so awful." Just different reasons. But I find it so fascinating how in this like span of the last 3 years, where I can genuinely say I've seen more movies probably than any other point ever. There's also the whole thing of like, because I said before, I'm open to different things. Like I'm open to stuff I haven't done before if it's communicated in some appealing manner. So when you're talking about repairing a vehicle or fixing something on a car, there's basics. You need screwdrivers and wrenches, and you know, I, I would prefer to, of course, have it done by a professional. But the great thing about a site like YouTube is that you actually can see what professionals do when when they call themselves trying to fix this stuff. And for that reason, I had started to, along with the fact that getting it repaired by actual professionals is like some ungodly amount of money that they want. But for that reason, I had started to kind of toy with the idea of attempting to fix it myself. And I'm not kidding. I had a relative yesterday. It's like, oh, you don't have the skill to do. It's like, well, if I can watch repeatedly someone who does have the skill to do it, and I can get the pieces, I don't see what the damage is in trying to at least, make an attempt. I mean, I don't know. I just feel like there's so many people just tell you don't even bother, don't try, don't just give up, and it's like, yeah, I wouldn't even be doing thinking of doing this if it weren't for the fact that the place that could apparently fix this is just charging too damn much. Like, if you could, I just want to pose this question: if you go somewhere and they want an amount of money that you know you can't afford, just think thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands. Just think of something like that. But then you can get the pieces and the tools to put them in for less than a few $100s. Are you gonna go with option A or option B? I'm going with B. Because again, even if I would feel more comfortable with A, I certainly don't feel more comfortable with that price. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting next few couple of days. This person said, "Oh, if when they get through there and doing their stuff, who knows what even will run?" It's like, well, I mean, you're telling me that the professionals, when you give the vehicle to them, they're going to make it worse than it already was, even if they repair something. Like what? Um, but what should happen is, as long as the engine is, or rather the battery is fine, which that's a brand new battery was put in there this summer. Uh, it should be at least able to run to some degree or another. Maybe not as, the other issue will be addressed today and over the next couple of days. And actually, that's one of the reasons why I'm so frustrated with, like, this couldn't have come at a worse time, because when you have like, for example, one of the two jobs is in my area, right? So that means I could theoretically, even if it will take a while, walk over there. Like, I know how to get there by foot, even if it does take some time to get there. But the other one is over 20 miles away. So there's no possibility of me getting there by foot, um pretty much at all. Like, I'm not even kidding when I say it's so far away that I have to usually leave about 2 hours before the actual job starts, just to make sure that I get there on time, and, like, even if there's traffic, I have enough time to get up there. Because the first time I came, I actually did end up being late, and nobody will ever understand how much that upset me. I mean, imagine having a record where no matter where the job has been, where you go, it's always you're there on time at least. Like, that's a bare minimum for you, right? And then because all of these cars are here and the traffic just won't move, and you saw the thing on your map and it said it takes about an hour and 10 minutes and you left about an hour and 20 minutes early. It was awful. I was so close just punching my dashboard. I was like, why? Like, they have two of the same restaurant. One is a few streets down from my place, another one's like 4 miles away. So why did I get stuck with the one that's over 20 miles away from where I live? Why? Just of all the luck, man, I tell you. I was really kicking myself. I said, I tried so hard to just follow the basic predicate of being an employee somewhere, show up on time, whatever their dumb uniform is, okay. But God, it's like it didn't matter. It really just, you might as well have just not even bothered trying. Oh man. I'm telling you, sometimes I really do feel like there's I saw this one comment. They asked if Amelia Clark is cursed because all the every time she joins a big franchise, the installments aren't good. They were talking about, like, she was in Solo and Terminator Genesis and now Secret Invasion, which I haven't heard one positive thing about. But it was it's funny because I felt that same way where it's like, you start working these two jobs, but of course one of them has to be very far away for some damn reason. Uh and then it's like that's not enough. You also have to start having these car issues. And I'm telling you, the only thing anyone is able to do at this point besides me is just run their mouth. Like, at least I'm attempting to get it fixed, even if it's going to be through a means I'd prefer not to do. Like, it doesn't matter if it is a few $100s or thousands of dollars. You will not see anyone pitch one penny into it. They will not do anything besides this. And like I said, I just find it so interesting how there's all this like pushback. If just like you don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. But the solutions they're giving are really no better. Like, oh, go spend all this money on this, and then have nothing after that because it just costs you so much. Or what's the other one? Um, I'm trying to think. Oh yeah, don't have them repair everything. Have them repair some pieces of it, and then try to sell it. It's like, why would I do that? If I know what is wrong with it now that they've diagnosed it, I know that I can get the pieces on the market. Um, you know, I don't see what the harm is in at least attempting to fix it, even if you may end up not being successful, but whatever. I don't know. I just feel like every time I want to do something that I've never done before, there's a person that's just don't try it, don't do it. Like I mentioned before, we have this one cartoonish relative who's like who is very much against me having a job as a trucker, like driving the trucks. And I was saying, I don't understand how someone can get mad that the person doesn't have a job, or this would be like a thing that they're wagging their finger about. But then when the person is attempting to get one, they're telling them that this one isn't good enough, or that, like, how are you so picky about what type of work this person engages in when you were criticizing them for not working? I'm telling you, it's crazy. People just they want it both ways. They want to be able to, look down on someone for not having something, and then if they have something kind of like it, they get mad because it's not that specific thing. Just at every turn, you can expect someone to tell you, don't do this, don't try this, don't make any attempts. I said it's really sad too because it's like there are certain things that I am kind of reluctant. Well, not reluctant, but sort of I'm more apoplectic about. Just to give you an example, they were talking about um, where was that thing? Let me see. Get a picture of it. Uh, the CV boots, right? It's like that's something that you have to probably lift the car on the side to fix. And I don't have any like tools for that, but a lot of that other stuff, I'm not, I have like tutorials and other little things that are kind of cluing me in on what needs to be done. And it doesn't seem like it's that hard. Oh man. Like, this stuff is such a cartoon. Don't do this. Don't try. Don't bother. It's like, damn, can we get some positivity for once? Like I'll admit I'm negative about certain things, right? The job stuff seemed like it was going nowhere, right? I still maintain it has gone nowhere. these places are, we've already discussed them before, but it's like if it's something a person's never done before, but they've got, a tutorial on how to do it, they have, in essence, people that are willing to show them how to do it so they can not end up spending thousands and thousands of dollars on having a professional person do it. At least let them give it a chance. Like, God, it's just like I said, I just get tired of the like unneeded, unnecessary pushback because it's really not helpful. I wasn't kidding when I said people are anti everything. Oh no, I'm just thinking about all the tools: screwdriver, wrench. Um, so there's some other stuff, obviously, but I'm just like the actual stuff you need to reinstall pieces or to replace pieces. And that was the weirdest thing to me. It's like, wow, they charge you a lot just for labor. Like when you can get these parts, all of which are by themselves less than like $70, right? Some are 30, some are 50, whatever. You can get all these parts damn near for I'm gonna say less than $300. But then for some reason when they repair it using these parts, they need thousands. Not 8,000, thousands. And I'm like, that doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know. This just feels like an era where everyone's trying to charge you the extra, like for nothing. I mean, we were talking about how we had a lady that called herself a singer because she did a cover. She stole some other people's songs and sung them, and she was talking about $500 or $600 just to record a song, and she has to pay the vocal. I'm like, lady, no, thank you. Of course, I didn't respond to her. I was like, wow, what an insane price for a non-professional singer. And then my favorite part was when she tried to ask what the project was about. It's like, lady, you don't actually care. Let's not like I gave like a one sentence answer. I'm like, let's not pretend you actually give a hoot about anything that's being done here. So many lies. I guess in that case, it's not a lie, but rather it's just a like feigning concern or interest. I'm telling you, man, I just this whole thing is insane. Like all the different gears and people being against this, that, or the other. It's just I showed my friend the price that place won. He was like he said he poured out some liquor for me. Just like this, like oh, it's over for him if he has to pay that. Mm. No, that's the worst part about getting stuff online. Like, yeah, you can find what you're looking for, but the amount of time it takes to get to you is still problematic. Like I was thinking, I said, if I'm ordering this on Friday, why can't I get it by Sunday? Because sometimes, like on Amazon, for example, they have tomorrow, or I guess shipping, 1 day shipping. It's like, yeah, that should come sooner than this, certainly. Like, what in the world? Mm. They drive me crazy. Like all these different places and the stuff that they want and the things that they will and won't do and what kind of prices they'll do it for. And it's like you ask yourself, why would I pay damn near $10,000 to supposedly fix all of the issues with a car when I can just, I mean, like, people might forget this. You can get a new car, or rather a different car, another car rather, for like 3,000. So why would I spend three times the price of getting a new car on fixing, excuse me, why would I spend almost three times the price of getting of getting a new one to fix an old one? Like, I'm telling you, man, it's just it doesn't make any sense. That's why I thought their prices were so bogus. Like, somebody is always telling you what not to do. Don't try this. Don't bother. Like, it's annoying. Man. No, I don't know why they throw out comments like that. Maybe if they keep doing it, then it won't run. It was like, no, if the battery is in there, that the only time that thing just stopped being able to move was when the battery was killed by the sun over the summer. Like, as long as that's good, it should still be able to, in the most like basic of sense, operate. Oh man, it is hard trying to live. I can tell you that. There's always these unexpected expenses and pay for this, pay for that. Oh, did you get this? Did you get that? And too often, the people around you who claim so much love and concern, all the rest of that hogwash, uh, they will not do anything to assist you. And that's why very often, when there's been issues like this in the past, I have told very few people, because they're just not dependable. You can't expect anything from them other than this. And it's really obnoxious, because it's like, why are you why are you like this? Why are you so incapable of doing anything besides running your mouth? You have no power. No, just you can't perform any ability other than this. Because as much as someone might think I'm stupid for trying to, or at least dabbling in the idea of fixing it myself, at least I'm trying to do something. I mean, Jesus. It's You look at the rest of them, all they're going to do is run their mouth, tell you that this won't work or whatever, and then that'll be it. You can't expect anything good from these people at all. Anything useful from these people at all, I should say. There's just a lot of discouraging that takes place. I'll never not be amused by the fact that like people will spend. I'm not even joking. I've seen, we had a video about women that live paycheck to paycheck, but it's like I've actually now seen multiple, at least two of them, women where they will spend hundreds of dollars on on articles of clothing, right? But if you expect them to spend to buy like a $14 charger for their phone, they won't do it. And that's insane to me because it's like the charger is infinitely cheaper than whatever trash, you're getting. And yet for some reason you can't get yourself a new one. Like why? Seriously, I've seen two of them where instead of just going and getting themselves a new one like I did, they'll go, "Can I use yours? Can I use yours? Can I use yours? Can I use yours?" Like, no. Remember, these people they're not like me. They've been employed, and had 40-hour work weeks, so they could get a charger if they wanted to, but they don't care. It's so surreal because it's like it's such a basic necessity, right? If you have a phone, you have to charge it, get a charger. It's like, but and it's something that you can use over and over again, right? As long as you can find somewhere to plug it in. But they really don't seem to value, the necessity of needing one of those. It's really unfortunate because it just like plays into that same pattern of like, the tropes. Oh, you say these people aren't very smart when it comes to financial decisions. Like, yeah, I do say that because again, you're seeing them get bags and shoes and all types of other stuff that they wear maybe like once or twice a month or even fewer times than that for hundreds of dollars, $80, whatever. But then a charger, which they're going to probably use every single day for the rest of their life, um, instead of just buying one of those, which is infinitely cheaper than most of these other things that you see them getting that they have no problem picking up, they won't do it. So I said it's just weird. It's like, hey, uh, did you see my new bag? That's like $300. By the way, can I use your charger? People are kind of like that with food too. Although with food, I'm more understanding because it's a thing that's not that has like a by design amount of time on it, and it's not as long lasting. I'm more. I'll give you an example. So, for example, just an example of an example. When I went to the movies, they had these. I guess you call it. What's the name of it? Frosties. It's like that frozen drink where it's like soda mixed in with ice, and they were selling these for $6, and I was like, I get where, for example, if I could get a burger, fries, and a drink for $6, I would say that's a pretty good price, right? When I go to the market and I can pick up eight containers of soup for $10, I go, hey, that's a pretty good price. But when it's and actually when I go to the market and I can pick up a 12 pack of sodas for $9, $8, it's like 7.99, 8.99, whatever. I say that's a pretty good price. But when you're talking about one singular drink, I don't care how big it is, one singular drink is damn near creeping on $7. That's insane. So that there's a reason why I had that thing exactly one time this whole year, and I've only gone to the movies, I think, like four times out of the whole year. It just costs too much. But it's not because the price itself is something I wouldn't spend on other things, because when you factor in what other stuff you could get for that same price, it's even stupider. It's like, so I'm gonna buy a $6 drink from the movie theater when I could get a pack of sodas for $2. Like for two more dollars, you can get a 12 pack of sodas for the price of the but then you can contrast that with the price of the drink over at that movie theater. It's like, yeah, 6.25 or $6 whatever for an icy. But if you go to the market, you can go and pick up a 12 pack of sodas for $8. Yeah, it's what I'm saying. It's like it's not worth it. $8 or $9, whichever one. And those are going to last you a hell of a lot longer. I'll never forget they had those three for 15 sales. I'm like, wow, because it that we're talking about at that point. What's that? 36 cans of soda for only $15. That's enough soda. Like I normally drink one a day. That's enough to last me a month, and arguably some change too. Because there's days where I don't drink any of it. So it's like that's a hell of a deal. I said, wow, what a deal. No, that'll never not be amusing to me how much they'll go out of their way to just not buy utilities like a new charger and then get all this other stuff instead. I just find it very comical. No, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I'm some brilliant genius. I never, people don't notice this, but I never actually call myself smart, like ever, because I think when others say it, it's more effective. Like it's actually kind of funny that I have the same like couple of two or three relative, well, more so one relative that tried to say, if you're so smart, it's like I never said I was. So there like I can see there's plenty of stuff relating to science and mechanics and just that I'm not familiar with. Um, because I think it is like as long as someone can concede that there are things they don't know, but at the same time be willing to learn those things that they don't know from people that actually know it. I don't see anything wrong with that. Um, that's why I said when I was trying to ask my friend what single payer healthcare is, and he goes, as he's kind of like smiling, it's healthcare for single parents. Like, no, it's like but that's my point. Like, if he could have just admitted he doesn't know it, he wouldn't have been in trouble. I didn't expect him to. I was actually more taken aback by the fact that he would, you know, make up what it is or try to like guess what it was based off the term that was used to describe it. But it's unfortunate that so many people just can't concede when they don't know something. Like I'm not. I'll put it this way: I'm so unacquainted with fixing cars that even putting like, if you asked me to put up the hood of mine, it would take me a second, and then I probably would kind of wonder, how do I close this back? Oh, you just let it fall down, okay? Because I'm just not that familiar with this stuff. But if I'm given instruction, which is what these videos are doing, and told, we get this part, get this piece, put this here, replace this, which is what they did. They told me what parts. They wrote it down. I screenshot it. They wrote down what parts need to be replaced. This is all stuff that I've been able to either find online. I'll go to somewhere in real life as well, look for it. But I'm just saying that as long as a person can admit they either have never done something before, they don't know that much about it, but they're still willing to learn it, I don't see anything wrong with that. I don't know. It looks doable. It doesn't look like it's simple. It doesn't look like I can just go outside, unscrew this, But I think if I'm out there for about an hour, maybe half an hour, most of this stuff could, with all the pieces, which are still going to take a while to get here. The earliest apparently is Monday. I think I can probably end up doing most of that. There's one part that I'm a little unsure about because it does involve some wiring issue, but the rest of it I feel comfortable with. I do. The only problem is getting the pieces, and that's really more so not even the problem of getting them, but just the amount of time it takes for that stuff to come from online. Which is why I said today, after I get the thing back, I'll try and look for it, go somewhere and see if I can pick it up there. Because even if I only get today, like let's say a screwdriver and then probably like one of the pieces, I could still go ahead and just replace the broken parts with whatever the newer stuff is. So then at least we can have a part of it fixed. Like it could be like a. I'd much rather prefer to just do all of it at once, but by virtue of how long it's taken for this stuff to get here, I'll probably end up having to do it piece by piece, which might not end up being that bad of a thing because if someone's trying to get familiar with this process, they'll probably be better off just kind of like having to keep opening it up, closing it, taking this part. You get more comfortable with it because you've done it repeatedly at that point, I think. I swear I'm not a car person at all, but I don't know. It's just watching that stuff. I felt, I guess, I feel more comfortable with it, and I've got the stuff on queue on file, so I can see it anytime I want, replay it as much as I want, because I have multiple, it's like 5, 6 different videos of people just taking this stuff out, putting it in, whatever. So we'll see how that goes depending on when this guy finishes this stuff today. As far as documentary news is concerned, part 4 is coming. I see. That's why I wish, because basically I got what's sort of an extended weekend where no work Wednesday or Thursday, or rather Thursday or Friday, and then nothing today or tomorrow. So I was trying to take advantage of that by just seeing how much of this stuff I could put in there because the script is, I would say, 70 or 80% done for part 4, but I still have to cross-reference it with this other book I'm using, and then also kind of just make sure we have everything. Because one of the things I noticed about Caro's book is that he'll often have these sections where he'll just describe stuff in general, giving you a lot of background context. This is why this is the way it is, etc., etc. And that's cool for the subject of the book. But if I'm trying to do a documentary, obviously I don't want to just, because I do quote him at various points, but I do also try to put things in my own words when I see fit. But I think we're probably, because part 4 is kind of like the middle chapter of the Senate years. So I think part five probably will be the last 2 or 3 years of him in the Senate, and then probably also the either also the 1960 campaign or just the last Senate years by themselves. I have to decide on which. It would be so weird to put the vice presidency and the assassination together, as far as just because it's such a like nothing burger of 2 years where he really doesn't have anything to do. Mm. Vice president is one of the most. It's very fascinating having the job that's number two to the most powerful person in the world, and they have almost nothing to do with it. They just kind of sit around, sitting in line, waiting to see if anything happens to the person on top, so they can have their shot at the glory, I guess. But yeah, part four will probably be the next one I do. I'm gonna see if we can start FDR this year. Because I do have now 2 books on him, but I'm still not entirely sure if I'll just I don't know. I think what I'll do probably is finish most of Johnson, so like all the things before the presidency, and then after that switch to FDR, and then you do FDR up until the presidency, then you go back to Johnson, and then we can get to our conclusive chapter. That sounds like a decent deal to me, because I really did want to do the two of them together. Because as Robert Caro said, or excuse me, as Dalek said, they were the two titans of the 20th century, and inextricably linked. No, it's gonna be a really goofy day, and I just hope I can survive this week. It hit me. I got hit with a real curveball with this car thing. I don't know what is going. I'm going to try and see if I can fix it myself, because it looks like it's much cheaper to do that than going through these people. Much cheaper at that. Um, but yeah, we'll see what happens. I'm cautiously optimistic. I'm feeling a lot better about this today than I felt yesterday when they like gave me those prices, and I just threw my hands up in the air and said, "Oh, it's over." But it really just comes down to when you don't have a safety net of some person above you that you can kind of rely on in a way, like, oh, you had to spend all of your money on this car. Oh, it's all right, son or daughter. You can come back here, or whatever, for free. No, not me. People you stay with, they'll charge you no matter what the circumstances are. They don't care, because all this stuff about family and, oh, I love you, it's all garbage. But yeah, I'll see this week about finishing part four. I don't know if it'll come out this week, but it certainly is. I think it'll probably be done at a minimum, and this is only just to accommodate my schedule, before the middle point of December. I'm going to say that. I think that's a good point where it'll probably, because I really do want to finish at least the pre-presidency stuff before next year, because that's when we're going to have to tackle Carter for his centennial. But we'll see what happens. So thanks for watching, and have a good rest of your Saturday.